Hold up.
Hey guys, it is Tristan with NewsStand, and I want to talk today about a press release that was released a while back from DC Comics. The only reason I am bringing this up is because I did see it on one of the usual suspects websites, and I expect it will be paraded all around for the outrage bait to kind of go into. And that's okay. Regardless of what you think on the situation of propaganda in comics, all I am here to do today is not to make you decide your mind. I think you should do that on your own. What I am showing you is that comics have always been and had propaganda. Now, what exactly is propaganda? I think most of us know, most of us look at it as unfavorably, right? But propaganda is the spreading of information in support of a cause. It can be any cause. You can call something like having a live stream to market a book propaganda. Now, normally it's much more malicious, or it is, sometimes a good cause. It just depends upon the situation. During the election time, we will see a lot of propaganda spread about, the adversary of the current president or each other in that competition, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about how propaganda is, some of the characters that are simply a character that was made out of propaganda, specifically Flash. We'll get to that. And we're going to talk about this issue with the vaccines and the Biden-Harris administration and WarnerMedia doing this. Now, we did see it not that long ago in New York. Marvel teamed up and did just an awful job at doing a vaccine comic for kids that were 12 and older who got the vaccine. They got a free comic book, which is a really nice idea. But the book's contents were terrible. Just an absolute joke. And I'm not sure how or why that actually happened. But what I want to talk about today is DC Comics, and I want to show you a little bit. So let's start out right when it comes to this issue. Let's start off with telling you a little bit about the Flash. Now, most people know the Flash. Most people love the Flash. We're going to talk specifically about Barry Allen. He was the Flash that was created out of an ideal Cold War tragedy, right? An allegory. The Flash of an atomic bomb. Get it? Right? Okay. So Captain Cold was designed to stop forward progress. And literally, Iris West was named that. Iris West, Western World, right? This was all an allegory for Cold War stuff. Now, Superman, he's always been a symbol for the oppressed, even battling the KKK to triumph over hate and bigotry. Characters like Moon Knight were made for mental health and the flaws in our justice system and how we treat mental health. But as far as propaganda go, you can look back at your old comics and see war bonds always within there during that time, saying, this is not only something you should do, but it is your patriotic duty to support these war bonds. These things were advertised a lot of the time to children. Much of the time to children. They would take comics and put in those advertisements, even sometimes for stuff like cigarettes. And a lot of the times it worked, right? There was a lot of war bonds sold. But as years went on, they became less and less. Now, we did see quite a few examples when it comes to stuff like polio, the vaccine for polio. Research means victory. You need to get this vaccine. Specifically, that is one case of pushing forward a vaccine. We also saw stuff like just recently, get vaccinated today, be a safety superhero. And we're seeing a lot of it, with shingles, get a shingles vaccine. So there are a lot of normal propaganda within comics. This is something that DC Comics and Marvel has done all along. They've put in Stuff like for infantile paralysis, March of Dimes, working together with them. And there are a lot more examples. But I'm going to talk specifically about a couple recent examples, right? We saw Superman Dead Legacy, The Hidden Killer, and The Death of Innocence. Now, this was specifically in 1996, and it actually sold a lot. This was a huge seller. It sold over 1 million comics within the first year. It was specifically propaganda about landmines. There were unaccounted landmines, and they posed a danger. And they did a 3-issue arc to raise awareness. So this is just another example of what we have seen all along in comics. Now, I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree with this, and I'm not here to convince you one way or the other. What I want you to realize in this situation, that this is nothing new to comics. We are seeing it all the time. There's even, old adventure comics about quarantining. There is a lot of propaganda that is in comics, has always been in comics. Wonderful Women of the World we just saw released. They talk about the virus. They talk about different issues. Comics were always made to move forward and sell ideals in a way that was positive and inspirational. And that I have no issue with. A lot of the times you will see DC Comics like this team up with the Biden administration to go around to hospitals and take pictures, and it's cute, and these kids get to have a fun day. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we are not the parents of these children that got the vaccine. They are simply doing something that DC Comics has done all along, whether it's polio, shingles, March of Dimes. There are a bunch of other examples. This is something that we have always seen. We see it with Israel. We've seen it even more recently with this stuff with Fear State and the anti-maskers or the hidden agenda or the moral authority. It is normal. That's all I want to say with this video. You can make up your mind whether you like it or not, but there's no reason to deny that it is not something that we have seen all along. Now, propaganda in comics can be uplifting and really good. You could even call some of it inspirational. There was a lot of patriotic stuff. There was a lot of punching Hitler, right? That is all propaganda. Superman taking on the KKK, trying to get rid of the white supremacy within the world and battle bigotry. All of these things are pretty normal in comics, but for some reason, a lot of people never noticed them or never cared before. And I'm not sure what the uptick is. I just think it's a divisive world we live in now compared to that time, whereas now at that time, it was just like, okay, well, we need a polio vaccine, right? That was a little bit of a different vaccine. Anyway, it was an inactive virus, but that's regardless of the point. Now it's like everything is political. A virus is political. A mask is political. What restaurant you go to is political. Everything is. So is comics. Again, so is comics. And the thing is, it's not any less nuanced in this situation than it ever was. It is educational. It is showing you that you get a little, something a little extra. Those things were always there. So I don't see an issue with this. I'm sure there will be an issue. I've seen it begin a little bit, not as bad. I just kind of wanted to get ahead of it. But I'm curious to see what you guys think. Do you skip the issues that have this sort of propaganda in it? Or are you just like, okay, yeah, cool, it's there. Next page. I'm curious. I know there will be quite a few of you that hate it, but I'm not here to decide that. Let me know, though, what you guys think. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.